Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is about the translation of Arabic manuscript. So, the word manuscript, what is it? So, manuscript is a book, document, or piece of music written by hand rather than typed or printed. In this topic, we tackle about how people in the history translated the manuscripts of the Arabian writers. So, let me start my report. Did you see that picture in there? He is Pope Sylvester II, originally known as Gerbert of Aurillac, was a French-born scholar and teacher who served as the Bishop of Rome and ruled the Papal States from 999 to his death. By his great erudition and phenomenal activity, Gerbert infused new life into the study not only of mathematics but also of philosophy. Pupils from France, Germany, and Italy gathered at Reims to enjoy his instruction. When they themselves became teachers, they taught, of course, not only the use of abacus and geometry, but also what they had learned of the philosophy of Aristotle. So, who is Aristotle? Well, Aristotle was a Greek philosopher and polymath during the classical period in ancient Greece. Taught by Plato, he was the founder of Lyceum, the peripatetic school of philosophy, and the Aristotelian tradition. Aristotle's philosophy was known at first only through the writings of Boethius, but the growing enthusiasm for it created a demand for his complete works. Greek texts were one thing, but the Latins heard that the Arabs too were great admirers of peripatetism. Among the earliest scholars engaged in translating manuscripts into Latin was Athelard of Bath. So, Athelard of Bath was a 12th century English natural philosopher. He is known both for his original works and for translating many important Arabic and Greek scientific works of astrology, astronomy, philosophy, alchemy, and mathematics into Latin from Arabic versions, which were then introduced to Western Europe. The period of Athelard of Bath's activity is the first quarter of the 12th century. He traveled extensively in Asia Minor, Egypt, and Spain and braved 1,000 perils that he might acquire the language and signs of the Mohammedans. He made the earliest translations from the Arabic of Euclid's Elements and of the astronomical tables of Muhammad bin Musa Khwarizmi. Muhammad bin Musa is a Muslim mathematician and astronomer whose major works introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals and the concepts of algebra into European mathematics. Latinized versions of his name and of his most famous book titled live on the terms algorithm and algebra. In 1857, a manuscript was found in the library at Cambridge which proved to be the arithmetic by Muhammad bin Musa in Latin. This translation also is very probably due to Athelard. At about the same time, nourished Plato of Tivoli or Plato Tiburtinus. He effected a translation of the astronomy of Al-Batani and of the Spherica of Theodosius. Al-Batani was an Syrian Arab astronomer and mathematician. He introduced a number of trigonometric relations. Through the former, the term sinus was introduced into trigonometry. About the middle of the 12th century, there was a group of Christian scholars busily at work at Toledo under the leadership of Raymond, then Archbishop of Toledo. Among those who worked under his direction, John of Seville was the most prominent. He translated works on Aristotelian philosophy. Of importance to us is a Liber Algorismi, compiled by him from Arabic authors. On comparing works like this with those of the Abbasists, we noticed at once the most striking difference, which shows that the two parties drew from independent sources. It is argued by some that Gerbert got his apaises and his arithmetical knowledge not from Boethius but from the Arabs in Spain, and that part of the whole of the geometry of Boethius is a forgery, dating from the time of Gerbert. If this were the case, then the writings of Gerbert would betray Arabic sources as do those of John of Seville, but no points of resemblance are found. Gerbert could not have learned from the Arabs the use of the abacus, because all evidence we have goes to show that they did not employ it, nor is it probable that he borrowed from the Arabs the apaises, because they were never used the euro except on the abacus. In illustrating an example in division, mathematicians of the 10th and 11th centuries state an example in Roman numerals, then draw an abacus and insert in it the necessary numbers with the apaises. Hence, it seems probable that the abacus and apaises were borrowed from the same source. The contrast abacist consists in this, that unlike the latter, the former mention the Hindus use the term algorithm, calculate with a zero, and do not employ the abacus. The former teach the extraction of roots, the abacists do not. They teach the same sexagesimal fractions used by the Arabs, while the abacists employ the duodecimal of the Romans. A little later than John of Sebelye nourished Gerard of Cremona in Lombardy. Being desirous to gain possession of the Almagest, he went to Toledo, and there, in 1175, translated this great work of Ptolemy, inspired by the richness of Mohammedan literature. He gave himself up to its study. He translated into Latin over 70 Arabic works. Of mathematical treatises, there were among these, besides the Almagest, the 15 books of Euclid, the Spherica of Theodosius, a work of Menelaus, the Algebra of Muhammad bin Musa Khwarizmi, the Astronomy of Jabir bin and others less important. In the 13th century, the zeal for the acquisition of Arabic learning continued. Foremost among the patrons of science at this time ranked Emperor Frederick II of Hohenstaufen. Through frequent contact with Mohammedan scholars, he became familiar with Arabic science. He employed a number of scholars in translating Arabic manuscripts, and it was through him that we came in possession of a new translation of the Almagest. Another royal head deserving mention as a zealous promoter of Arabic science was Alfonso X of Kassel. He gathered around him a number of Jewish and Christian scholars who translated and compiled astronomical works from Arabic sources. Rabbi Zag and Lehuda ben Mos Cohen were the most prominent among them. Astronomical tables prepared by these two Jews spread rapidly in the Occident and constituted the basis of all astronomical calculation till the 16th century. The number of scholars who aided in transplanting Arabic science upon Christian soil was large, but we mention only one more. Giovanni Campano of Novara brought out a new translation of Euclid, which drove the earlier ones from the field, and which formed the basis of the printed editions. At the close of the 12th century, the Occidental was in possession of the so-called Arabic notation. The Hindu methods of calculation began to supersede the linear and quadratic equations. had been made accessible to the Latins. The geometry of Euclid, the Spherica of Theodosius, the astronomy of Ptolemy, and other works were now accessible in the Latin tongue. Thus, a great amount of new scientific material had come into the hands of the Christians. The talent necessary to digest this heterogeneous mass of knowledge was not wanting. The figure of Leonardo of Pisa adorns the vestibule of the 13th century. It is important to notice that no work either on mathematics or astronomy was translated directly from the Greek previous to the 15th century. So that's all again. My name is Ludi Jane Morante, your Module 6 reporter.